I really like this comment. Thank you for commenting. That produces new videos. I made a video called "The USA is more similar to Mexico than it is Europe?" Question mark. I was responding to someone else's comment. Matt Starr had this to say, quote, "I don't think Europe and the United States have a lot in common. A lot of things we view differently. The one outsider I see in Europe would probably be the UK. They are the most US-like of the European countries. Also, a big difference between Europe and the United States is that in the US, everything is being taken to the extreme. Just look at your cars, for one. Fast food, gun laws. Of course, to an American, Europe would look boring because we have realized we don't need those things. All they do is bring bad things with them. There are so many more examples. I would have gray hair when I'm done mentioning all of them," end quote. So I think that I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that comment. And as an American, please know, I can easily agree with this comment. You know I'm a vegan, right? You can imagine that's in protest to the fast food culture of America, to the concept, as you've seen in the documentary on Netflix called "What the Health," how people eat too much meat. Americans consume so much meat, and it's leading to onset diabetes. I'm not going to be another number. 2 months from now, it would have been 5 years that I became a vegan. And so I don't buy into that whole concept. I don't believe that it's okay just to go get fast food and, oh, life is busy, life is hectic. Let me go get some fast food. Let me just eat about all this meat without thinking about where it came from or what it's doing to my body. No. And as far as cars go, I have a 2004 Honda Element, and it's kind of rusty and beaten up in the garage. That's my car, you know. It's old. It needs to be replaced. But I have nothing to prove. I've got no reason to try to impress anyone with what I have. And so I think too, while there are definitely American stereotypes. As far as guns go too, I mean, I don't know. I guess the way I feel about guns are, I understand it's an American right, but at the same time, perhaps American politics say, oh, look at all the Middle Easterners, look at all the Muslims, they're the ones that are the terrorists. And then when you look at all the terrorist attacks that have taken place here, how many of them had nothing to do with Muslims or terrorists. They were actually American white men. So as far as there being restrictions on gun laws, as far as having that conversation, I'm on board with that. So I think in many ways, I'm not a typical American as far as those things go. As far as a culture goes, I would agree with all those things. So I do think that's an interesting comment. And I agree that if anything, we're more like the UK. The more I make these videos and I hear from people from Spain, the more I realize America is very different from Spain. Spain sees the world a lot differently than we do. And I would imagine France is the same way, which I've got nothing against France. I think it's a great country. And I think they're maybe a bit more reasonable sometimes when it comes to concepts of war. They're less likely to be involved when they don't necessarily have to be. So I've got a lot of respect for them. But I think it shows how different they are from American culture. So I like making these videos because I learn more about my own culture that I'm automatically part of, whether or not I agree with the mainstream. And please know that I typically don't agree with the mainstream American perspective on things. I typically don't. And so it's easy to see me and think that I must be that way too. But no, I did not vote for Donald Trump. I didn't vote for him. Okay? So that whole concept of make America great again, I think America's already great. That's how I feel. I didn't vote for Donald Trump as president. I want to be very clear about that. So I think maybe the more you get to know me, you realize I'm actually not so stereotypical of American. And perhaps there's a lot of things I have more in common with Europe than I do America. Now you got me curious what those things are.